This is day 333, Good Character Development. I am a wannabe fiction writer. For years, I have been slowly creating scenarios, backstories, and character arcs for a book I've dreamed of completing one day. While I was ruminating on a character that I have made, I decided to research what good character development was and how it was accomplished. My research drew me to one conclusion. Good character development in fiction is the same as in real life. I decided to write up a summary of some of the principles to inspire myself to work on core areas of who I am and who I hope to be. Principle 1. Good characters have complexity and depth. The human that draws our attention or someone that we want to be associated with always has an internal conflict going on. This makes them relatable and believable. If we try to portray our image all the time as perfect and without flaws, then people will withdraw for the same reason. They find these characters boring in fictional tales. When people learn of your desires, fears, doubts, and your inner struggle with overcoming and achieving these, then people are naturally drawn towards you. Humans are always complex and have contradictory traits. For example, I am always viewed as a confident person, but I'm also deep inside a cowering and fearful child. In fiction writing, this is always brought to light by a great backstory. We have to be willing to share and have a willingness to self-disclose, and that's so that people know where we are coming from. The laws of character development in this regard are true in our own lives as they are in the written word. Principle 2. The best characters have clear intent. We can sniff out a good plot, usually the desires and motivations of the character that we are reading about. This is also true of the people we interact with. If we detect a person we meet has a poor intent, or that their intent is unclear, confusing, and difficult to understand, our instinct will not to be to like that person, and we will withdraw. In reading good fictional stories, you will know what the character's intent is. An external thing like a quest or a relationship, but also an internal motivation like gaining self-worth. We want this to make sense, which means that the motivations of a character can be easily connected to a value system. This is equally true in our own lives. When we have a clear value system and we are transparent with people about our internal and external ambitions, they will like us more, even if they disagree with you. They will be drawn to you because they can understand you. Principle number 3. The most admired characters have a distinctive voice. In fiction, the most memorable characters are the ones who stand out because of how they express themselves, how they speak, act, and react to the world around them. Their voice is distinctive, not just in the words they choose, but in their worldview, tone, and attitude. In real life, it's no different. We are naturally drawn to those who have a sense of individuality and authenticity, who communicate in a way that feels uniquely their own. A strong voice is not necessarily loud or dominant. It can be subtle, yet still leave an impact. Just as in fiction, where a character's voice reflects their backstory, experiences, and personality, our own voice is shaped by who we are and what we have lived through. Developing a distinctive voice means embracing all those parts of ourselves, our quirks, our perspectives, and our unique way of seeing the world. It also requires consistency. Just as readers would be jarred if a character suddenly spoke or acted in a way that didn't fit who they were, people in real life trust and admire those who stay true to their character, even in different situations. Principle number 4. We love characters that build relationships. In fiction, the characters that leave a mark on us are often the ones who form meaningful relationships with others. Whether it's a deep friendship, a complex rivalry, or a romantic connection, the relationships between characters give the story its emotional weight. The same holds true in real life. We are social beings, and much of who we are is shaped by the relationships we form. The way we connect with others says a lot about us, just as it does for the characters we admire in stories. A well-written character doesn't exist in isolation. Their development is driven by how they interact with others. It's through their relationships that we see their vulnerabilities, their growth, and their struggles. Similarly, in our own lives, the bonds we build, whether with family, friends, colleagues, or even casual acquaintances, reveal who we truly are. These connections help us grow, challenge us to be better, and sometimes even show us the parts of ourselves we need to work on. Just as fictional characters must navigate the complexities of trust, loyalty, and sometimes betrayal, so must we. Building real, lasting relationships requires effort, vulnerability, and openness. But when we invest in these connections, we enrich not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. Much like in a novel, the relationships we nurture can be the most powerful, transformative elements of our own story. Principle number 5. The best characters are those that are seen taking action. In fiction, characters who sit idle or passively let life happen around them rarely capture our hearts. The characters we root for, the ones we remember long after the story ends, are those who take decisive action. Whether they succeed or fail, it's their willingness to act that makes them compelling. They face challenges, make choices, and take risks, propelling the story forward. The same is true in real life. People admire those who don't just talk about what they want or dream about what they could be. They take steps, however small, towards making those things happen. In fiction, action reveals character. It's not enough for a character to think or talk about what they would do. We learn who they really are by what they choose to do, especially when the stakes are high. Likewise, in our own lives, it's through action that we define ourselves. Our values, ambitions, and desires come to life when we actively pursue them, even in the face of uncertainty or fear. Sitting on the sidelines may feel safer, but it's in the moments where we take action, bold or subtle, that we truly grow and inspire others. Action doesn't always mean grand gestures or heroic feats. Sometimes it's the small, consistent steps that matter the most. Just as in fiction, where a character's daily choices shape their arc, the actions we take every day build the story of who we are becoming. Taking action shows commitment, determination, and most importantly, progress. The best stories are the ones where characters evolve by doing, and so are the best lives. So we are effectively building our own stories. In reality, we are all fiction writers of a sort. We are building, shaping, and creating our own lives, and we are communicating that to others. We are in charge of our own story arc. Any good character arc requires change and growth. We evolve over time, and we usually have to overcome flaws and sometimes even fall victim and find ourselves rebuilding again. In fiction and in life, we are always finding ways to adapt when appropriate and ultimately become the heroes of our own story by achieving our true and virtuous desires.